Let's take a closer look at hardware and computer parts. We can classify hardware in these categories. Let's take a look at CPU. Central Process Unit is the component that makes all the calculations and operations. It's the computer's brain. CPU's most important component is the microprocessor.
Okay, but where is the CPU in a computer? A lot of people think that the CPU is the computer case and everything that is inside, but that is not actually correct. The CPU is a circuit that is inside the computer case, and in modern computers, that is usually the microprocessor. The microprocessor is the most important part of your computer and also probably the most expensive. The two most famous companies that make microprocessors today are AMD and Intel. Maybe you have heard of them.
Now let's take a closer look at the main memory. All computers need memory so they can make calculations and work with data. Computer's main memory is called RAM, Random Access Memory. RAM memory is volatile. This means that all data stored in it is erased when we turn the computer off. That's why we need storage devices like the hard drive.
This is a RAM module. This one is 4 gigabytes. And our computers need a lot of RAM memory. Otherwise, we couldn't be working with our browser, a word processor, an antivirus, and even the operating system needs a lot of RAM memory. So if this happens to you, you probably need to get more of this.
Peripherals. Peripherals are devices that we use to communicate with computers. There are three kinds of peripherals. First, the input ones. These are the devices we use to put information into our computers. For example, your keyboard, mouse, or microphone. The output ones show us information from the computer. For example, your screen, speakers, or a printer. The input-output ones can do both. They allow us to put information into the computer and also show us information from the computer. For example, a pen drive, touch screen, or a multifunctional printer. Peripherals are connected to computers' ports. Ports are connections that are usually at the back side of the computer. Most used port today is USB, Universal Serial Bus. These are the most common computer ports. And now, storage devices. Storage devices are also peripherals that we use to store big amounts of data for a long time. Some examples are hard drive, pen drive, DVD, and external hard drive. Let's do an activity. Match every component in the picture with its name in Spanish. There are three mistakes in this picture. Do you think you can spot them?
Vamos a repasar lo que hemos aprendido de hardware. Hemos clasificado los elementos hardware en 4 categorías diferentes: la CPU, la memoria, periféricos y dispositivos de almacenamiento. La CPU es la unidad central de proceso, controla todas las operaciones y realiza todos los cálculos. El microprocesador es lo que consideramos el cerebro del ordenador. La memoria RAM es la memoria principal del ordenador. Sin la memoria RAM, el ordenador no puede funcionar. Y voy a pasarme de página. Vamos a continuar con los periféricos. Los periféricos nos permiten comunicarnos con el ordenador. Hemos visto que los periféricos pueden ser de entrada, de salida o de entrada-salida. Se conectan al ordenador a través de los puertos y el puerto más usado es el USB, Universal Serial Bus. Los dispositivos de almacenamiento nos permiten almacenar grandes cantidades de datos durante mucho tiempo. Son dispositivos de almacenamiento, el disco duro, un pendrive, un DVD. Y hasta aquí llega el apartado de hardware. La siguiente sección, software.